Meg Tuohey, I am so excited to have you here.
Me too.
First of all, welcome to Miami. Welcome to the United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as much fun as it is in Australia. Just kidding, but I'm biased. I love Australia.
Yeah.
I understand why you leave the island or the country of Australia.
Mm-hmm.
But welcome. I'm so excited to have you here, and I'm excited to dive deep into your expertise. I was telling a friend of mine before we decided to collaborate together or jump on this podcast, and I was telling her, I'm like, I feel like I'm going to have a free therapy session. With everything going on in my life right now, this could not have been more aligned and divinely guided, as I like to call it. So before we dive in to all of the questions that I have and everything that my brain is like, we need to do this and we need to ask her this, I would like you to take us to where it began.
Well, which bit, my friend?
The
My new
very
friend.
beginning. The very beginning.
Well, there was a mummy and a daddy.
Mommy and a daddy. Yes. The part of you that decided, I am going to work with women. I am going to work in relationships. I am going to work on helping people heal trauma.
Yeah.
And really go back to themselves. I know your biggest focus is women and getting them to own their power, especially neurodivergent women.
Yes.
Which is like, and we're going to talk more about that because my niece was recently diagnosed with ADHD, and she texted me. She's 11, and she was like, Titi, I'm so sad. I have ADHD. And I was like, why? Do you know that I have ADHD? And she was like, you do? And I was like, yes. She's like, Mommy doesn't. And I was like, yeah, I know. I do. I was like, you're going to learn to live with it. It's going to be great. It's the best thing to have. So I'm curious from your perspective, but why did it all start? Why this passion?
Yeah, it's a beautiful question.
Yeah.
So it actually starts at age 8. So at age 8, I have this distinct memory of finding 2 words that I was like, this is what I'm going to do. Those 2 words were child psychologist. And at age 8, it was 1988.
Oh, wow.
So this was when we used to buy encyclopedias at garage sales.
Yes.
And look things up.
Or they used to sell them door to door.
They did, but we didn't have the money for that. So we bought ours secondhand. So 20 years out of date.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
So
yes.
I don't know how an 8-year-old that comes from that context, pre-internet, all the things, finds those 2 words. But I found those 2 words, and I distinctly remember being at a family function, and an uncle said to me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I was like, I want to be a child psychologist.
Oh my God, who says that?
I didn't actually know what that meant.
Yeah, of course not.
I just had the feeling that was somebody that would help.
Right.
And at that time in my childhood, I was somebody who was looking for an adult to help. And there were no adults that were helping. And so fast forward, I had a whole other career. I loved that career. It was in
career?
business. I was in HR. So I got my first degree and got a graduate program in HR for an international insurance company.
Okay.
And I cut my teeth that way.
Yeah.
And so I went HR, learning and development, talent management, and organizational development, eventually ended in consulting.
Okay.
And at the same time, which is sort of overlapping, I was like, I actually really want to be a psychologist. I don't think I'm smart enough to be a psychologist. And I really want to do it. And so I played with that in my mid-20s. And it was like, it's a 6-year process. I got to start from scratch. I've already done 1 full degree. And I was like, oh, I want to do it. And to make a long story short, I did do it.
Yeah.
And when I was working at that consulting company, I was under the organizational psychologists that ran it. So I have this very strong organizational psychology background and systematic leadership company background, big teams, national, international companies. That was where I started.
Yeah.
And then I found this passion for individual psychology through my 6-year degree registration, we call it in Australia, licensing sequence.
Right.
And then I was like, well, we could take this and put it in this. And the consulting company I worked for was like, no one wants that. And I was like testing it quietly because I used to run executive leadership programs, senior leadership programs, and I'd see the same cohort year after year. And year after year, we'd have these big breakthroughs. And then the next year, they'd be back and they'd be stuck in the system and nothing had changed.
Yeah.
And I got really frustrated because I'd done 12 or 15 years or something like that in this sort of space.
Mm-hmm.
I then started, just because it was fun, sharing some of my individual learnings within the context, in a safe way, within that context. And the leaders were like, what was that? Tell me more. How does that fit? What does that do?
Yeah.
And so I took it to the founders of the consulting company. They were like, no, there's no money in that. And we're not interested in that.
Wow.
And so I parted ways with them maybe in the next 6 to 12 months.
Okay.
And
give us your context. I'm a numbers gal. So at this point, you've got your psychology degree.
I'm licensed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're probably in your 30s?
That's a good question. Let's do some numbers.
Yeah. The reason I ask that, and I think that's important, is because the majority of people that listen to this podcast are between 30 and 40.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, I can personally relate to a lot of what you're saying. I've changed careers multiple times. I've had different pivots.
Yeah.
I thought about, becoming a psychiatrist. I'm not completely throwing that off the table.
Yeah.
But I'm 36, right? And I think the old school mentality is like, it's too late already.
Oh, no, honey.
You need to get married. You need to have kids. You need to have those, all of those, and we're going to throw that out the window because that obviously, like, that's not my belief. That's not where I am in life. But I think it's beautiful when I meet people who have constantly rebuilt themselves over and over and over and have rebuilt, then burned it down and then rebuilt and reburned it. And that's beautiful. And I think there's something to be said about not having everything so structured and organized in a world that tells us that's how it has to be. And it's like all the pressures of being an adult and growing up and whatever. I say, my therapist agrees with me, I say that we are a bunch of children playing dress up.
I'm interested in that. I think maybe let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's pencil that. Let's put that down as a topic.
Yeah, we could go back to that.
Yeah. But I think there's many ways to live a life.
Yep.
And there is no right way, there is no wrong way. Yep. And I finished my licensing, which we call registration, at the end of 2017.
Okay.
And it took me, that 6 years took me longer because I had 2 kids in the middle of it.
Wow. What a rock star.
Well, I just like doing my thing.
Yeah.
And so, it took me longer. But I started in 2009. So whatever that took, that's how long it took to do the 6 years.
Okay.
And I loved that. And once I found individual therapy, I started to be all like, because I would start deep diving in the modalities. I got my specialty areas, particularly in relationships. That's where I cut my teeth because I had so many questions that I wanted to answer for myself. And I really liked the idea of working with a system. So 2 people. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. That's what I was super interested in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of where it started and why I was interested in it.
How did the neurodivergent fall into place?
That's later. That's like another invention. I mean, it's not an invention, but I mean, that's another addition or a reinvention of my own. So if you imagine yourself as a musical instrument, it's another string to my violin or a string to my bow. It's like the next interest area that I had. That I've had for about 5 years and that I have pursued really sort of very relentlessly for about 5 years. All in.
Yeah. How did that come about? Is it because, I think it's I hate to use this word, but I think it's such a trend right now.
Oh, yeah, don't use that word.
Yeah.
It's not a trend.
And it's not fair or correct to the people that actually do have ADHD, and I think people use it as an excuse of like, oh, I have ADHD, I can't do this, and it's like, no, well, do you actually have ADHD?
They don't use that as an excuse, do they?
I don't know. I feel like some people do. I feel like it's such a trend. I feel like it's being thrown around, and maybe not so much now, but I remember in 2020 during the pandemic, it was like a big like, I have ADHD, and some people genuinely do struggle, obviously.
Yeah.
I was diagnosed 22. Yes. But I come from the old school generation of she doesn't have a problem. She's just calling for attention kind of thing. And my parents didn't know any better. They were immigrants, God bless them. They did the best that they could. But I really struggled. I struggled hard. I definitely have some form of dyslexia because if my brain thinks faster than I respond. And so, I respond faster than my brain can catch up. So sometimes I'll read things and I'll realize, wait a minute, I just said those numbers backwards. And I don't even realize it, or I'll read something and I'm like, that was not what that says. I know that, I catch myself. But that's been my whole life. And I remember sitting in therapy at 22, and my therapist being like, you do know that you, and I was like, I mean, I thought so. And she was like, no, but like I can clinically diagnose you because you 100% have it. And then she's like, would you like medication? I was like, I mean, what's medication? She's like, Adderall, we could try Ritalin. And I was like, I mean, honestly, I've tried Adderall. I don't like it. It drives me crazy. You know, I feel like I'm very like on edge all the time. She's like, why don't we try a small dose, you know? And it did help for a while. But, you know, I came back to her and I said to her, I'm like, you know, I've learned to live with it. Like I've learned to mold my environment to what I have and what I can do. And I think as I've gotten older, I'm 36, it's been a constant, especially in my 30s, of falling in love with myself all over again and forgiving myself in those times of like, who am I? And how does my brain actually work? And accepting of that compared to everybody else around me. It's definitely been a journey, but I'm curious, like, what was it about this specific topic that you were like, oh, this is something here? Was it something that you found in couples? Was it something that you found that most women have based on your research?
Certainly, it presented a lot within the women that I worked with.
Yeah.
And we didn't do a specific module on it. What we would say is, because I run a team of licensed psychologists, clinical psychologists, we would say bring your question to the call and we'll help you understand that piece in context with the conversation or the area that you're stuck with. So that's how I did it for a really long time. And then I came to understand that I am neurodivergent, and that became an interest of mine. What is this, and where am I, and what does it look like and feel like, and what do you mean the way that I operate is divergent from, which is the name, divergent from the bell curve.
Right.
What do we mean by that, and how does that look and feel? And it started to help me fill in the gaps because I did not do well at school. Yeah. Not do well at school at all. And
same.
I'm clever. And I remember the shock of getting to year 3, which you might call 3rd grade. And all of a sudden, I couldn't answer all the questions on, I think it was maths. And she was reading out the question, you wrote down the answer. And she got to like the 15th one, and I was still trying to process another part. And she kept going, and the rest of the class kept going. And I remember thinking, that doesn't make sense to me. Why can't I do that? And the story that I told myself was, well, you mustn't be able to. You mustn't be that smart. And the people around me never commented that I was intelligent. I never had any external feedback about who I am, whether it's intelligence or anything else. The only feedback I had was actually quite negative or neutral. So to do psychology was actually a really big, courageous leap, because you have to be able to do statistics at quite a high level to do a thesis in order to fulfill the requirements of being registered or licensed. And I was like, well, I can't do that. But I have to do that because I have to honor this dream of mine since I was 8. And so my husband had moved to Germany and he was working, and I had the opportunity to do some freelance work for German companies when I was there as an organizational consultant, which was very cool. And I had the time to study remotely to become a psychologist. So you have to do statistics in year 1. It's like statistics, it's not 101, it's like 104. It's like the, you know, like you do it in the 4th subject sequence. And I got this textbook in the mail, shipped from Australia.
Oh, God.
And I was like, here we go. There is, like, the only way to become a psychologist is through understanding this textbook on statistics. And I did, you know how they have levels of maths? I did the lowest level of maths, and I did not do well in it. And so I was like, okay. And C's don't get degrees. Did you have that saying?
Oh, yes.
So in a psychology world, C's do not get degrees. Like, you do need to get a certain level if you want to get into honors, if you know, if you want to get into clinical psychology. And I wanted to do all of those things. So I was like, this textbook and I,
we're best friends.
we're about to have a conversation. So I sit at this tiny table. It's Germany. It's freezing cold. It's winter, and I'm downstairs.
Where in Germany?
Near Frankfurt.
Okay. Yeah, very cold.
Cold.
Yes.
Cold.
Yeah.
Sitting
I
down.
mean, Melbourne's kind of cold, but different cold.
Different cold.
Different cold.
Snow. Like boots with snow boots.
And like very strong hats. It's like, it's like New York.
Oh, yeah. Yes. So cold. And I'm sitting downstairs and I've got this textbook and I was like, all I'm going to do is the curriculum each week and I'm not going to stop.
Yeah.
Until, because I didn't have kids, I'm not going to stop till I've got the curriculum and I can answer the questions in the back of the book. I'm not going to stop because I'm going to do each chapter and I'm never going to miss. I'm going to figure this out.
Yeah.
And so I go through, I read the chapter.
Yeah.
I turn to the last page of the chapter. There's a list of questions. I answer the questions, flip to the back of the book, check my answers. First one's right, second one's right, third one's right. 15th one is wrong. I'm like, okay, well, I can do this.
Yeah.
Just stay calm, stay cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is, I can't remember the question, but it's on this piece. Go back to the book, look at the thing, look at the formula.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a formula thing. In my book, I write out the formula. I write out the question.
Yeah.
I put the pieces into the formula and the answer is the same as the wrong answer I already had.
The answer is the same as the wrong answer. Okay.
So I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Because the back of the book is like the answer's 59. I actually think it was 59. And I had like 54.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm missing 5 things. I sat there, no word of a lie for 6 hours. 6 hours. Because I had made a deal with myself.
Yeah, good for you. I'm like that too.
I was like, we are not going anywhere. 6 hours. I was there at like 4 o'clock when my beautiful husband came home.
Oh my goodness.
Who has a natural inclination.
And yes, he's German.
Well, he's not German. He's Australian.
Oh my goodness.
But he has a natural inclination for maths and statistics.
Yeah.
And I was not in tears, but I was not all right.
Yeah.
I was like, honey, and he knows my deal with this textbook.
Yeah.
I've got this question wrong. This is where I'm drawing it from in the text. This is the answer in the back of the book, and this is my process.
Yeah.
I said, please, will you help me? He was like, okay. So he sits down and he spends 5 minutes working it through.
And he gets it.
He gets it. And the answer is my answer. And he said, honey, your answer is correct.
The textbook was wrong.
The textbook was wrong.
My heart feels for you. I think I'm going to cry. My heart feels for you because that's like, I mean, that's like my entire childhood. The amount of times that had happened where I was like, no, but I think I'm doing it right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I learned a lot that day. I learned that I can persist.
Yeah.
And that when I lock in, as the kids say, maybe you say,
yeah.
You're younger than me. When I lock in,
yeah,
like nothing gets in my way.
Yeah.
I learned it that day. And I also learned that when you are methodical, you can learn and figure something out if it means enough to you.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. And then I took that practice and I did the rest of the semester and I did not get like a distinction.
Yeah.
But I got good enough for someone who'd never done it before. Yeah. And I was really proud of myself.
Yeah. Kudos to you. I mean, it sounds like a story of like you even learning to trust yourself.
Huge.
Because, and I mean, I feel like there's so much relatability here, me personally, like growing up and always questioning whether I was smart enough to accomplish X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And then getting to adulthood and then running my own business, doing my own thing, and then be like, am I doing this right? Like, can I trust and it really comes down to that. At the core of it, can I actually trust myself? Can I actually get the results and do the thing that I want to do? And you look at somebody who you feel it comes so much easier and so much natural to you, like, for example, your husband, like, what's wrong with me? You know?
Yeah.
I love that story.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, that's a good story. That's a good story. Now, I want to circle back, though. You said something about understanding when you realized, well, there's 2 questions I have for you that I wrote down when you were talking. And I was like, okay, this is somebody who's listening to this. I remember being in my mid-20s and learning how you best like to learn. And I think that's important, right? But I feel like before we answer that question, right? Because I think there's 4 ways of learning, right? Or 3 ways. It's visual.
Depends on the model, but you can do visual, auditory, kinesthetic as 3 if that's helpful.
And so, you know, depending on which way you like to learn, what is better for a neurodivergent brain or a neurodivergent person. And when you said that you realized that, give us like the context of like, how would you, or what was it that you were like, what's the definition? What's the actual, or not like a text, I don't want like a textbook definition, but like, what was that? Okay, this is according to the bell curve, this is a normal brain and this is a neurodivergent brain. So what's the difference? If somebody who's listening and is like, wait a minute.
What are we talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's operationalize.
Yeah.
So neurodivergence covers a whole gamut of letters, essentially. So if we think about the DSM-5, which is the Diagnostic Statisticians Manual version 5, that the American psychologists and psychiatrists put together.
Right.
The last version was maybe 10 years ago, and most of the Western world uses this as a way to diagnose. That's like kind of how it works. There are other ways to do it, and some countries do it differently to that, but it's a very commonly used protocol.
Okay.
So when we're looking at neurodivergence, it basically means divergent from the bell curve of typical from that perspective. So what we want to be thinking about is, well, who fits under there in terms of a category? So this is where we see ADHD, autistic people, OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, dyslexia, dyscalculia, dysgraphia, and there's more. So like I'm just giving you a general feel. But also some of the mental health conditions that change a beautiful brain through trauma, like borderline personality disorder, CPTSD and PTSD can, depending on the practitioner and the view of the world, their perspective, also fit under that umbrella of neurodivergence. So it actually categorizes a lot of people as being divergent from typical. That's one way to look at it.
Yep.
I would add to that, that if I was to describe differences, I'm not particularly interested in only talking about brain differences, of which there are biological brain differences. So there are more connections in neurodivergent people. They don't prune as well.
Yep.
Typical people prune branches that they don't need.
Yep.
Neurodivergent people's brains don't prune. So in order to process information, it has to go through a whole lot of synapses, a lot more than a neurotypical person's does. That can be a blessing because you store a whole lot of extra things. That can be really cool.
Yes.
That can be a curse because you've got to like sift through all those things. And sometimes you can't get your thoughts together in a coherent way fast. But then we also do have differences in processing speeds. So we are divergent. So that means for some people it is slower than typical. And for some people it is faster than typical. And this is what we're talking about. Bell curves in the middle, divergent traits or makeup is outside of those on one end or the other. How am I going with this?
That makes sense.
Yeah. So it's not just brain differences though. Neurodivergence affects body systems, elasticity, joints. It affects digestion. It affects differences throughout the entire nervous system, much more sensitive, much more highly attuned, or much less sensitive, much less attuned. Because remember, we're outside the middle. So we have either end.
That's really cool. I've actually never been heard that explanation, so I really do like that. What would you say the effects of social media has on us with this? And maybe that's why there's more people coming out of the woodworks of like, I feel like I have a neurodivergent brain and I'm having difficulty.
Well, if you think about this is a multi-layered question,
right?
And I'll do my best to answer it. I could probably do a whole podcast on this, to be honest.
I'm sure.
So we'll just do as much as we can before we move on. So if I miss a bit that you think I should have said, just know it's probably timing, my friends. It's just probably timing.
We'll do another one, guys.
We will.
We'll do it in Australia.
We promise. She'll come down under. Okay. So the question is, how does social media interact with neurodivergence? We could talk about how do screens interact with neurodivergence because it's actually screens and neurodivergent kids and people can actually be really helpful, like a very protective factor. Also, because again, we're looking at those other sides of the bell curve. Also, it can be very devastating or harmful at the other end. And this is where we are looking at who the person is, what their needs and accommodations are, what their special interests are. And what it means for them to be engaged in social media. Maybe they're watching that beautiful autistic train guy and it just brings them joy. And that is like actually really protective. Maybe they're right down the other end and they're stuck in some kind of dopamine seeking
Yep.
way to regulate their nervous system that they don't know how to manage because they don't understand themselves, and they're spending way too long on there and not
Yep.
able to transition out. There is no answer. There is only context, person, and why is the behavior there? What need or purpose is it serving?
Yeah. So it's very much the context of the individual based on their trauma, who they are, what they're looking for, all of it together.
It's unique to each person. And
Yeah.
sometimes we can cluster ourselves and see groups within ourselves.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's nice.
as someone who works with business owners, and you know, I get clients who post something and it doesn't do well, and it sends them spiraling, right? Whereas very much, I mean, I've been doing this for so long that to me, I'm just like, whatever. I don't scroll social media. I'm intentional about it, but I'm also aware of what my needs are. So when I'm going through a depressional episode or I'm going through a very rough phase of my life, the last thing I do is scroll social media. I spend as much time internally, like, you know, it's on the couch, like journaling, meditating, you know, doing more therapy, whatever I need. I don't find that scrolling through social media helps. Although I will say that my feed has changed so much, where anything that I look through when I do scroll, it's super inspirational, it's super inspiring, and it's like things will get better, life will get better, you know, which is beautiful. But I can understand that if someone was struggling mentally, scrolling through social media, like doom scrolling would be kind of rough.
I mean, I think we've all doom scrolled.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We all doom scroll.
Yeah, but it needs to be more intentional.
I think it is it's a clear strength of yours that you know yourself enough to know what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
I think that's a blessing.
Yeah. You have a new book coming out.
Do I have a new book coming out?
Oh my God, let's talk about it. Heartprint, right?
Thank you for knowing that.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Sweetheart.
I'm very excited to read about it.
Thank you.
Yes.
It is actually a 5-year project. It's not dissimilar to that statistics, my friends.
Oh my God. I'm about to start writing my own book, and please don't make me.
Not every, well, see, you can make things, and some people and some projects happen really quickly.
Yeah.
I make a lot of things really quickly.
Yeah.
So to find this book that needed to take the time it took to be in the state that I knew it was complete, it took what it took.
Yes.
And I was not going to release it until I knew it was the best I could do. And it was exactly what I wanted to be known for. It's my legacy, right?
Yes, of course.
It's in print. For me, unfortunately, it took 5 years.
No, I think, no. I think to you, fortunately, it took 5 years. And for us, I'm very excited about it.
Thank you. Yeah, the version that it would have been 5 years ago would have been helpful to a cohort of people.
Right.
No dissing myself.
Right.
The version that it is now, I love it. I'm really proud of it. And when I read it, it moves me. It's like right at the end of the final stages before publication. It's like a long lead time when you launch a book. And I got it. I got what is important to me.
Okay, so walk us through this. And I'm selfishly curious of where did this idea start? Why did it take 5 years?
Yeah.
Tell us and what is the context of the book?
Yeah.
I mean, I know the context, but they don't.
So will I do it in the order that you listed?
Yeah.
Those questions?
Yeah.
Okay. So 5 years ago, I had moved into a new house. It was COVID. It was Australia was in a lot of lockdowns, and my town was in a lot of lockdowns. And I was in the shower. It was the first shower I had in that house. And I was like, I'm in a new house. I'm in a new house. Look at me.
Yes.
Like I was like so proud of myself. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw a billboard. And I understood. There was nothing on it because I didn't know what this book was. But I understood it was my billboard for my book. You know, when you catch yourself dreaming a bit?
Yeah.
I was like, what are we dreaming? What are we dreaming about?
So you never even imagined writing a book?
I guess I did.
Yeah.
But it arrived.
Interesting.
It arrived.
Okay.
And
So
I was like,
and it always happens in the shower, by the way.
Me too.
Always happens in
Me
the shower.
too.
Because my idea came in the shower. I was like, oh, no. I was like, we serious? This is what it's going to be about? And then I just got I feel it in my body. I got so excited.
Same.
And okay.
That's exactly the same.
Okay.
So this is 2020. And I was like, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to be a person who becomes a person that's written a book.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I don't know how to do that. And I was like, okay, but I know I'm resourceful. I'm good at finding people that can help me. And I've already written a whole program that was very successful at the time. And I was like, okay, well, I've written programs for people. Yeah, so I was in the shower. And when I was in the shower, I saw that I was going to be a person who wrote a book. So then I was like, I've got a whole methodology. Maybe I can teach a piece of that, and so that more people can have access to the wisdom that I have curated and organized for the women that are my clients. I was like, well, that's pretty straightforward. I can figure that out. It wasn't straightforward. So I hired a book writer who I did through like, what is that website where you can hire freelancers?
Like Fiverr? Yeah.
Through like Fiverr. I paid him $1,000 down. And I was like, can you help me organize this into a coherent book? He was a ghostwriter. That's what he did.
Yep.
And we had a clear scope.
Yep.
And he's like, yep. 2 weeks later, he'd gone missing. A month later, he bailed and took the money.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was like,
so sorry.
Right?
Yeah.
He basically said, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And I've spent enough time trying to do it that your $1,000 is paid for that.
Yeah.
But essentially, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, that was bad luck.
Yeah.
So I hired another one and had a very similar experience.
Again?
Yes, because I'm a complicated person and I wanted to make something pretty complicated. And I was hiring people who didn't
understand.
And so then I actually hired a really like high level, big investment ghostwriting company to help me. I was like, I have to write this book. I saw it in the shower. I feel it in my body.
Okay.
This is what I need to do.
Okay.
I just need a next level of support because obviously it's not working. And I am not a person who can write long form. I tried myself. So I didn't say that part, but I had tried to do it myself. And I can talk to you all day and all night and I can transcribe that, but then I can't make that into a chapter.
Yeah.
I can't make that.
Yeah.
And so I thought I was making a self-help book, like a workbook.
Yeah.
That made sense. I'm a psychologist.
Yeah.
I teach the things. I make it anyway.
You help people.
Yeah. Like that's what I'll do.
Yeah.
And I got the first ghostwriter from the higher end place. And she did write the book. And I got it at Easter 2 years ago.
Wow.
And I was like, this is not my book. No, it was exactly what I asked her to do.
Yeah, and it wasn't.
It was not my book.
Oh, so she delivered on her promise, and
She
was
delivered.
but yeah, it was just
It was just not my book. And so
Wow.
then I wrote to the people, and I had paid enough money that they were like, okay.
Yeah.
So they gave me Bob.
Okay.
Bob is the COO of the company.
Oh.
Very clever.
Yeah. Bob. I love Bob.
Mid to late 60s.
Okay.
And Bob and I partnered
Yeah.
every week for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bob deserves a gold medal.
Bob and I,
Best buds.
Bob is like a wonderful, dear partner.
Wow.
And he hadn't been writing. He had a degree in literature, but he'd been running a company that helps authors write their novels and running that.
Yeah.
And because I was too tricky, they gave me Bob. Bob
Okay.
was the greatest blessing of my life.
Wow.
I'm thinking about, because I haven't written my thank yous at the end.
Yeah.
I would think at least once a week about how I'm going to acknowledge him.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know how
It's
to give
not
it
enough.
justice.
Yeah. It sounds like it's not enough.
And like it's my work and it's my ideas and it's certainly a partnership.
Yeah.
And that I could not have
all
written this without him. So the book is called Heartprint. It's based on the idea that as everybody has a heartprint that is as unique as their fingerprint. And the idea behind that is that your expression of who you really are takes you an entire lifetime. You never get it done and no one else is going to be the same as you. And your job is to try and get to know yourself and that heartprint and live a life as congruently as you can for who you really are. And then on the outside, does it match what feels right for me?
Was that the original idea 5 years ago?
The bones
piece
of
of
it.
Okay.
The bones of it. But it didn't have a name.
Yeah.
It wasn't that clear.
Yeah.
But it was around, my work is about returning women home to who they are and using what I call their wise woman to help them govern and lead their life, which is this head and heart coherence, which is where that inner wisdom works. So it was always that, but it's evolved into story. So the book is a novel now.
Oh, wow.
That's why it took 2 years, because now it's a story.
Ooh.
It's a story, and it's all the psychoeducation's in there.
Oh.
And there's characters. There's characters, and the characters are going to have more than one book.
When is this released?
Q1 2026.
Okay.
Yeah, I think maybe somewhere between March and April.
I was going to say, if I'm in Australia, I'm supposed to be in Australia in January. It's like, oh, I will go to the book signing.
That would be so nice of you.
I heard this. This was maybe 2-3 years ago. I heard this. I don't know where I heard this. I think I read it in a book once. And it might be fake news, that every single child that is born has a different heartbeat or different rhythm and heartbeat.
Really?
For the first 10 seconds. Yeah.
I've never heard that.
And I remember reading that and thinking, oh my God, like, well, that's why we're all so different.
Oh.
Like, right? And so I feel like there's such a full circle moment of you saying that.
My
and
body is reacting to that idea.
Yes.
Oh.
For the first like 5 to 10 seconds that a child is born, apparently, this could be fake news. Anybody listening to this and you're like, Jen, you're full of shit, like, correct me.
Or if you know it to be
it's true.
drop the references. We want to see it.
I heard this years ago.
Yeah.
It was around COVID, maybe 5. I don't know when I heard it. And it was something along the lines of like every child that is born, the first 5 to 10 seconds of they come into this earth, their heartbeat is different. And I'm like, oh, how beautiful is that? And the idea was that you spend your whole life going back to that heartbeat, trying to find the story, right? And so, I mean, it sounds like that's what you've done here.
Oh my goodness, that makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Because imagine if that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it's not literally true, it is absolutely true.
Yeah.
Because that person is their own self, and they're being born into a context they have no control over. And they've got the deck of cards they've been dealt, which is their genes, their environment, their parents, their context, their situation. And then good luck to you. Like that's being a human is a lot.
It is. It's such a blessing. It's such a blessing. And you're right. It's all the context of the relationships that we hold and the people, the environment that influences that, all of it.
Yeah.
Talk to me about this wise woman.
Yeah. So that's my metaphor. And we use that. And we also use good man. So there are two interchangeable identities. And it is the same kind of idea as a Heartprint. Every wise woman is different. When you do my curriculum, your job is to pick up the pieces that belong to you and leave the pieces that don't, because not everything fits everyone. And your job is to return home to yourself and build yourself and your understanding in the way that feels resonant to you. And when you are downregulated and in congruence with yourself, you have access to your own internal wisdom. And when you've got that, you can navigate anything. So that's my primary premise that my whole infrastructure of work is built on.
I love this.
Yeah.
And when you say your work, is it psychiatrists or anyone? Like, I can take this program.
Well, women. Yeah. Only women. And I specialize in women in relationships that are in crisis and everything else has failed. And their friend, partner, husband doesn't want to do the work or can't do the work. And they're like, I will do this. I will step up and lead. And often the complaint or the judgment or the criticism I receive, and I do receive this criticism quite a lot, which is like, why should I have to do it? And the thing about a relationship in crisis is it's taken at least 6 years to get there. And by the time they find me, they've tried therapy, they've tried retreats, they've read the books, they've asked their pastor or their leaders in their community or their loved ones what to do, and none of it has worked. And they're at a stalemate. It's usually make or break. They're in the ocean of crisis.
Wow.
And I say to them, if not you, then who?
Yeah. Why 6 years?
That's just a statistic.
Really?
That was taken out of the Love Lab, John and Julie Gottman's work. That's about...
Oh, yeah, they're great.
Yeah, so they've measured how long it takes a couple to get to crisis, and I think it's 6 years.
So if you basically surpass the 6 years, you're, or at least in better terms.
Maybe, or you could have the cumulative that tips you at 8 years, because remember, we don't have to hit just 6 in the middle.
Yeah.
We can have a bit either side. You could hit it at 4, you could hit it at 10.
Yeah.
Every couple hits rough patches because our partner, our friend, partner, husband, they are the ones that hold the mirror like any of our close relationships do. Yeah. And they're pulling us into our greatness, but we tend to blame them for our feelings. And then we get really defensive, and then we make up stories about them, and they make up stories about us. And then we actually really do have differences because we have two different heartprints, and then we can't find each other, but we did used to love each other. So we keep trying and it's not working. And why?
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, why should I be the one? Why won't he do it?
Yeah.
And so oftentimes there's a whole lot of reasons why he can't do it.
Yeah.
And if you want to be a person who's dotted your I's and crossed your T's before you end a relationship, or if you want to try everything to save that relationship, that's the people that come across our invisible doors because we are internet based.
Do you think that whole mentality of why me is a piece of the ego?
I think it is because they wish they didn't feel so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason I asked that about the ego is because I lost my younger brother in my early 20s. And I was, my family did the work, but they stopped to a certain point. And I'm the one that kept doing the work. And I remember getting to a point of the work that I was doing and telling my therapist, like, I don't want to fucking do it anymore. Like, why do I have to do this? Like, they're living in La La Land, and like all of these things are here. They're, like this happened because of this and this, and like, and because of, and just putting all the pieces together, right? And I remember it took me a really, really long time to get to a place of accepting that their journey is their journey and that mine is mine. And at the end of the day, my hope is that only it will ripple, right? And that they will see the change and that they will then maybe want to make the change. But even if they didn't, that a piece of what I've already done will bleed into them. And it's interesting now, it's been 15 years since my brother died. And I think I can humbly and gratefully say that, my family is insanely strong. They have changed so much. And they and the relationship and the dynamic that we have, and they know that I've done so much of this work. There's truly a level of respect that they have because they're like, well, you've done this and you understand. And it's just so interesting. And so when I hear you talk about couples and women being like, why me? I remember sitting in therapy and hysterically crying in times where I don't even just in my car, like, why do I have to do this? Like, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see what's wrong with me. I don't want to see my mistakes. And I felt very much like God was like, oh, really? Well, what about this? And what about this? And I mean, it's only led me to be this exceptionally amazing human, I would think. And being able to hold relationships. Being able to meet people and really understand them because, I think there's something to be said about where you come from, what you do, and you have two different people coming together, two different perspectives, you said earlier, come together. I think that's huge. So yeah, I'm very excited about your book. I cannot wait to read it.
You're so generous.
Yes.
I think I know why I might be here because I have a piece that you don't have a piece to. So everything you just said about your beautiful brother, thank you for sharing. I agree with all of it. And the question you had is why me? And why am I the one who's so interested in this? And why are my other people not as interested? And I think I have an answer that you haven't found yet.
Yeah.
So all that you say is accurate.
Yeah.
And you have a beautiful brain that you self-identified as dyslexic with ADHD. Do you know comorbidity with neurodivergence is, I think, at least 70%, and I reckon that data is outdated. I think it's more likely to be 90%. We're not just one, we're multiple. And I don't know if you are aware, but from my perspective, not diagnosing, just offering a hypothesis.
Yes.
I would say that you are actually living in what we would call a neurocomplexity brain, which is wired in giftedness. And with that beautiful, clever Ferrari brain that goes fast, which is the ADHD, with your giftedness, you are, and your special interests that go deep, you had something happen that was so confusing that your gifted brain could not put down until it understood. And the people around you have a different wiring and different depths. And that is not to say that they're shallow. I'm just saying it's different.
Yeah.
And they didn't have the questions they needed to answer to the level that you did.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is maybe a contribution I could make.
Thank you. Thank you. That's so beautiful. I appreciate that. Yeah. Look at that. I told Monse we'd have a therapy session. I love it. Well, Meg, thank you so much for being here. It has been an absolute pleasure. We end this podcast with a very simple question, which I feel like we've already answered it. But actually, I have two questions. One's personal, will be very quick. And the next question is how we end the podcast. But everybody who's listening will know that this is who I am. I'm super big into astrology. No, she's like, guys, if you could see her face right now, her eyes
happy.
just went.
She's happy.
Okay, good. Okay, good.
That's a happy face.
Do you know your big three?
No.
Okay, well, do you know your sun and your rising?
No.
Oh, when's your birthday?
January 10th.
Oh, so you're a Capricorn.
Yeah, baby.
Of course. That's why you're such a go-getter.
So focused.
Yep, she knows what she wants and she wants what she gets. I love it.
She's a goat.
Yes. Okay, so the last question that we ask on this podcast is, what is the impact you dream to make in the world?
I would love to make a 10% difference to every single woman in the world, returning back to who they really are and having the understanding that who they really are is just right. They're not doing it wrong, that they have more power than they know, and they have more agency than they know, and they can have access to their own internal wisdom by building that relationship with self. If I can adjust every woman in the world by 10% in the direction of understanding that, I mean,
you've made a difference.
It's an audacious goal.
Yeah. Oh, I love it though. Thank you. So beautiful. Well, Meg, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We'll see you on the next episode.
It was lovely to meet you all. Thank you for welcoming me so well.
Oh, before we end, of course, please tell everybody where we can find you.
Oh, please come find me at Meg Tuohey Official. You can just search me up, baby.
Yeah, we'll make sure to add her stuff in the show notes. Thank you, Meg.
Thank you for having me. This was a wonderful conversation.
Yes, I love it. Thank you.